Hello, welcome to this podcast, which is some astrology about the amazing things happening this week. And at the end, we're also going to do meditation with the mantra to connect into Durga, because it's the third day of Navratri festivals, which is quite amazing because it really connects in with Venus. And I only discovered this like a couple of days ago, that we were in the festival now. So yeah, welcome to whoever's here, and if you join later, and also to people who might watch in the future. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing this week, we've had the new moon. I'm not going to cover that, but what I want to look at is the Mars-Sun conjunction that's kind of reaching a pinnacle yesterday and today, and also what's called the Kumari Kiss, which is the Venus moon gate that opens the sixth Ajna center in the ascending cycle of Venus, and is very much connected with Venus's cycle, which I'll say a bit more about. So, if you want to ask any questions, jump in to do that, or to offer something. I'm going to, after each bit, I'll say, do you want to say anything about your experience? And I can suspend the recording for that if you want me to. You could just let me know in the chat. Or put anything in the chat if you want to say anything, but also don't feel like you have to either. Okay, so I'm going to screen share the astrology, the amazing astrology chart for today. And just pick up a little pen here. Okay, so I'm looking here first of all, the fifth house, and there we can see actually today we have the sun. Mercury has traveled all the way back from 20 degrees this week, so it's going really fast backwards, and is now like right there at 16 degrees between Mars and the sun. Okay, so I just want to kind of put together a little story through the hexagrams and through the Sabian symbols about what the meaning of this is. And it's really amazing, actually, because it's kind of crossed two hexagrams. Mars and the sun started in 48. And now they're in 57, which is the wind over wind hexagram. So it's a really important hexagram, or gene key or gate. So that's our beginning point. And this little goddess here, she's called Hygeia. And she's a goddess of like circadian rhythms and attuning our bodies to nature. So when I saw the Sabian symbol for this point, it was absolutely like so spot on. So I'm just going to read that. So this is actually for 15 Libra, which is where the exact Sun-Mars conjunction was. But I think it's worth, even though I've got the chart up for today, this is the one that really kind of resonates. And it's called Circular Paths. Nature gives us the model of how best to live from year to year. And it's the serene realization of the cycles of creation and destruction. The cyclical nature of life is a given. The seasons come and go. Day breaks and night falls. And we have no possibility of entirely escaping them. It is not only society that requires a firm rhythm to operate, we do too. At first we are challenged to fit in and conform to society's cycles, yet later we must surely go against them to resist both boredom and unconscious enslavement, dancing to another's tune. Yet beyond that is another wisdom, and that is to find a way to align our own path with external rhythms, to resonate with the environment and social group around us. This in the end is what brings peace beyond belief. So I'm just going to stop sharing for, where's my stop sharing button? Hang on. Sorry about this, bit of a technical hitch here. Okay, yeah, so just wanted to come back to the full screen there. Yeah, so that's like the context, and so with Hygeia being there, it feels like this is a really important message about attuning to natural rhythms, and that's something I started doing in the water hexagrams as we went through Virgo, and I've been doing them in the wind hexagram. So I was kind of already starting to go like much deeper into the hexagrams, so I really resonate with that theme. But it's saying, like, also the Sabian symbol seems to be saying, you know, we need to break away from like the rat race yang way of living and find our own inner rhythm. But then potentially we also connect to a group who are maybe of other people who are also doing the same, like people who are contemplating gene keys and human design are already moving through these hexagrams. So maybe there's a possibility of attuning to a new kind of social group in that. Yeah, so that's interesting, and I like this thing about, you know, when we just buy into that yang full-on rhythm, it can lead to boredom and enslavement. So that seemed like quite interesting as well. Okay, so hexagram 57 is called Subtly Penetrating. It's part of the Codon ring of matter, which begins with gene key 18, goes through 46, 48, 57. And these are the splenic gates, so they all relate to like deeply related fears, but also like our primal intelligence, our intuition. So again, this speaks to me about this like close connection with Gaia, because, you know, animals will know when there's going to be an earthquake or something like that, because their subtle awareness is much more powerful than ours. And we can have that. It's only because we're moving too fast that we don't. So yeah, and it's interesting to kind of think about, you know, in this codon ring of matter, i.e. what is being seeded into the physical form, you know, what is the embryo in the air. My colleague Katrini Matisse said something like that yesterday, you know, what is the element of air birthing at this time, seeding. And this like Mars Sun conjunction, it's going to take us all the way to November 2023. So in a way it's quite a simple message, but I just felt really excited by it and wanted to share it. So I'm just going to pause and see uh, if there's, if you want to say anything about this, or you know, it really connects in with self-empowerment as well. So hi, welcome if you just joined. So we've just been talking about the Mars Sun conjunction, and yeah, so I will carry on with the Venus Moon. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Right, so we just looked at what's going on in Gene Key 57. It actually started in 48 and now it's in 57, which is the gentle wind. And Libra is all about balance. It's about the light and the dark. And Venus, of course, is one of the rulers of Libra. Okay, so what I wanted to look at here now then is that we have here a Venus Moon conjunction, and we also have what's called the South Node there, and the North Node. So recently in September, the nodes moved onto the 3420 axis, and this is the manifesting generator axis. So this sounds quite amazing, and this is something Katrini Matisse pointed out the other day, is that all the babies born between now and January will be manifesting generators, and they will all be around 7 years old when we reach that 2027, when we change from the cross of planning to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So these two, the 3420, are actually part of that cross of the sleeping phoenix, along with the 59-55 axis. So it feels like this is a time like we could really learn a lot about what it's going to be like when we change to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So in terms of gene keys, 34 is the shadow of force and the gift of strength and the city of majesty. And the 20 is about the shadow of superficiality. I've forgotten the gift now, but it's presence is the city. So we can have, like, at the shadow level, just forcing things, you know, everything's surface deep, nothing's really digging deep into things. It's just like forcing your will onto the world. And the hexagram is called great vigor. So this is like a huge energy force, a power force. Richard Rudd talks about its connections to the plant kingdoms. You know, it feels like a primal life force energy. And it feels very much connected with ancient shamanic traditions, especially from Siberia, which is something I've also been exploring with Katrini. So here we have one of these Venus gates. They're called Kumari Kisses, and it's right conjunct the South Node. So I've been following the Venus trail since last year, and she goes through the cycle where she descends through 9 gates, and then she goes through a life, death, rebirth at the conjunction with the sun, and then she ascends through 9 gates. Now this has been linked to the myth of the descent of Inanna into the underworld, and that's the way I've been following it. But it actually also links with Navratri very much, because a we have the spring cycle. The morning star is when Venus is descending, and we have the evening star when Venus is ascending. So we would get the this happening at this pretty much similar times of the year. It does move around, but you will get this kind of two sides of the year, the two faces of Venus that you get with Navratri. And also it's a festival of Durga and her 9 faces. So and the one today is where she's riding a tiger. So I really love that. So this feels very significant because it's happening on the same day as the Mars-Sun Mercury conjunction, and it's happening on the South Node, which, as I say, is this really important axis, which is going to be part of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And all the children that are going to be born at this time will probably be really powerful children. We had a similar thing in 1966, where the nodes were in this position. And they will go back to it as well before 2027. We'll have a few more time periods where we're on this 3420 axis. So I wanted to share also the Sabian symbol for this point. Where have you gone? There we go. Because I think this is really amazing as well. Right, I'm going to stop sharing again for the moment. Stop share. Okay, so if we're thinking about like where this is imprinting, it's for like at least until January. This is a thing that's going to be really strong. But it's going into the whole Venus cycle, and it's keying into 2027. So I feel like really kind of getting these Sabian symbols can really help us in how we're going to attune to that time. And one of the things that comes out as a theme, as well as attuning to natural rhythms and circadian rhythms of nature, is like self-empowerment, but for the collective. So in the shadow of the 34 as well, is also force. So you can it can be all about me as the individual and wanting to do my own thing and not care about anyone else. It can be that in the shadow. But in the city, it can be majesty and presence. How awesome is that? Just that ability to really fine tune our subtle awareness. So this really spoke to me as well, and hopefully you'll kind of see the story I'm telling here. So this is the Sabian symbol for 2 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's called white-capped waves display the power of wind over sea. So remembering that 57 is the wind over wind hexagram, you can see already there's like a symbolic elemental connection to this point. The power of unconscious elements, accepting the need to flow around obstacles that are beyond our capacity to influence, avoiding being overwhelmed by the elements, Notwithstanding our sense of having power to influence the future, we are quite puny on the physical level. The forces of nature plus forces of spirit are overwhelmingly more influential in shaping outcomes. The ocean of our unconscious drives is energized into dynamism by the winds of change that arise inherently out of the breath of life itself. We must learn that we are subject to the forces of higher and lower energies, superconscious and unconscious, spiritual and animal aspects of self, and these are dominant streams of evolution that we can hardly control. Our task is to become subtle enough to surf the waves of change and stay with it all. So yeah, I really love that. Just affirms to me again this thing about being subtle enough to surf the waves of change that are coming as the cross of planning breaks down and all our systems start to kind of not work so well anymore, and we have to maybe let go of attachments to things we have become accustomed to in the world we live in now. It feels like, it really affirms what I was saying with the Mars and the Sun. So that's all I wanted to say. I have built some time in for sharing here, so please don't feel you have to if you don't want to. And I was saying as well that I can pause the recording as well, so I'll just give a minute, have a pause to drink my sacred tea and see if anyone would like to say anything. Okay, so for the ceremonial part of this, let's just close our eyes first of all and do a little, my Koshi wind chime here. Let's take 3 deep breaths. And on our next breath, let's push our breath all the way out into the universe, to the moon and Venus, and the south node, perfectly aligned out there in space and time. And calling in that divine imprint, the Sun and Mars, or Venus and the Moon in this gate that particularly connects with the Ajna center. calling in that subtle awareness. And connecting through Venus to these 9 faces of Durga. And Venus has her 9 phases between each conjunction with the Sun, meeting the Moon 9 times in the cycle. And Durga is a great mother goddess. She has many different aspects, and today she's in her aspect where she rides the tiger. She's a fierce Durga. She's our inner Mars Durga. So I'm going to put on a song. This is a mantra that's very simple. The words are Ma, which is mother. And it lasts for 11 minutes. So just going to do that together as a thank you to Gaia, to Mother Earth. If you're joining this call afterwards, just taking that time to pause and really be in gratitude and celebration for our wonderful Earth. May the blessings and strength and majesty of Venus and the moon be with you, and the subtle penetration of the gentle wind of Mars and the Sun and Mercury be with you. And thank you, Mother Goddess Durga, for all your infinite blessings on every single level. Aho. Amen.